Already it becomes very hot here. In the trees, the hot weather bird calls and calls, like one heralding a disaster. Flying foxes hang head downwards in bunches in the trees around the courts, and the smell of them reaches into our office. So rank it is. All the world is now eating mangoes and throwing away the stones so that the ground is littered with them. And after the mangoes come many flies, and after the flies, the cholera, which rages here every season without any failing. Very sordid, very dirty a place is Myocene, and yet along the river banks it is beautiful. Down on the tide come water hyacinths in purple and green masses, like pretty eider downs of flowers floating over the water. The sunset paints the river the color of opals, and in it the golden pagoda mirrors itself, a smaller replica of the Golden Pagoda in Rangoon. White paddy birds come winging along over the river, and for a little while the dirt and squalor of the bazaar fades from the mind. Today I went to a hanging. It was Mr. Chelston who took me. One of these days you will have to attend these things on your own. Better learn the ropes now, he said to me. So we repaired to the jail. It is a sad place of brick, clean inside, and standing amongst many acres of vegetables, which the convicts themselves bring up by hand. I do not think that prison is much deterrent to the Burman, nor, as far as that goes, to the less educated Indians. There is no shame attached to a sojourn there, and you get free and good food at regular intervals. Only the lack of women and tobacco are regarded as deprivations. Many of the older Burmans, I learn, hastily commit some offense when they are liberated so that they may return there again. For myself, I had no wish to participate at a hanging and asked Mr. Charleston why this was necessary. He then informed me of a strange custom amongst these people. They do not greatly object to being hanged so long as there is a government official present at the hanging. If no official is present, there may be a great deal of fuss, and the reason for this is a simple one. You can hang a man's body and so be rid of it, but you cannot hang his soul. There his soul is and must remain always in the jail unless given special permission to depart by a government official or other authority. The Burmese people are very particular about this, and Mr. Chelston told me how only the previous week the wife of Ba La, our clerk, deceased of cholera, had arrived in the office to ask him to dismiss her husband officially, as although his body was indeed dead, his soul still remained over the petty cash book because as yet he had not had the official sack. Whereupon Mr. Chelston gave her a paper which said that Maung Ba La had been a good and faithful servant and left the situation through no fault, but with the commissioner's full permission and consent. And so the lady departed, very happy, taking away the soul of her husband with her. All this Mr. Chelston told me while we waited for our hanging. The prisoner had done many cruel actions and looked at the last a trifle ashamed of himself. As he stood upon the gallows, Mr. Chelston raised his topi in his polite manner and said in his quiet voice, Maung Lu Gale, committed to death for murder, you may leave this jail with my full permission and consent. After which Maung Lu Gale did so.